Welcome to the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of November 28th, 2022. I'm Terry Morrow, and I'm here with Catherine Holeko.
Hello.
And Nicole Eridix.
Hello.
Every week we chat about what parents are talking, complaining, and obsessing about right now. This week we're complaining about playdate documentation practices and obsessing about influencers. We also take a couple of breaks for an entertainment discussion and a recommendation roundup. Today we are talking about talking. Specifically, teaching young adults to have meaningful conversations. Is this meaningful conversations with other people or meaningful conversations with us?
Whatever you want it to be.
Is this teaching my son to say something other than, I want to talk about it?
It's fine.
It's fine. Or tomorrow. I'll talk about that tomorrow.
My son's classic is, I'll figure it out. Love that one.
Yeah. But will he?
No, he definitely won't.
Could you give me a timetable for the figuring out,
When
please?
will the figuring
I would like
happen?
a PowerPoint with dates and plateaus and goals.
And I'm going to track your
Put it
progress.
on a rank chart.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah,
Nicole saw a Instagram post about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you said it was one of several.
Yeah, just lately maybe I'm more clued into it for whatever reason, but I've just been noticing that there's been some buzz about teaching our young ones how to have a conversation because apparently, whether it was COVID and, we've got the little babies that were born during COVID and didn't have that exposure to other people. And then, but then we've also got young adults who, maybe social medias and their phone have been such a big part of their life that they're used to texting that conversations are not a thing. So, I've just been reading a lot about that topic lately. Like, are we teaching our kids how to have conversations and how are we doing that if we are? And is it important? So those are kinds of ponderings of mine lately.
Maybe conversations are passé. Maybe just electronic communication is where it's at now.
I don't know.
Maybe we're dinosaurs. Please come sit here by the fire and communicate with us orally, children. Speak words in our ears.
Okay, but it does
We
drive
are
me
old.
crazy. It's such a pet peeve of mine. If, when you meet somebody or you're chatting with somebody and you're just constantly listening to them. Like, there's just no two-way conversation going on. And I'm like, you know what? You need to learn some conversation skills. Because this is not happening. This is not working for me right now. Because I'm not saying anything, and you are saying everything. That drives me crazy. And so, for that reason alone, I definitely advocate for teaching kids conversational skills.
So you want to teach them not so much to express their own thoughts, though that is important, but also how to pause, take a breath, and let the other person talk for a few minutes?
Well, I'm to be interested in what the other person has to say, right?
Will this require me to model that to my child? Because we got some trouble if that's the case. Sit down that I may tell you for 45 minutes what I want you to know.
I'm just saying that I think we need to do better at conversing with other people, like authentic conversing, not just me talking at you or about me. Like it's just one of my big things these days.
Yeah. Yeah. My conversations with my daughter are often sort of an exchange of monologues. So that's not really, whether either of us is listening to the other is unclear.
Oh, yeah.
So, and my son, man, I cannot have a conversation with him at all. He is not interested. He is not in the conversation business, which honestly ain't too far from my husband. So
right.
Maybe it's a guy thing. Do you have conversations with your husbands?
With them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. deep, meaningful conversations? Or who's going to pick up the kid?
Define deep.
I will.
Maybe like 30 years ago when we first started dating. Now it's like, have you fed the cats? That's all.
I feel
our
sort
exchange.
of, sometimes our conversations are sort of one-sided just because he doesn't talk. Mm-hmm. It's like, I will pause for a moment and there's no input forthcoming. So
You just
I'll fill the void.
plunge
Sure.
ahead.
Yeah.
No rebuttal? Excellent. Let's move on.
Furthermore,
Well, see, and in our house, it's just my husband and I now, right? And so there's a lot of quietness. It's very, yeah. Sometimes
Which is why Nicole has to podcast.
exactly. It's my weekly socialization. But yeah, I don't know. Am I alone? Am I being like a fuddy-duddy? Am I alone in this thinking? Is it important? Are conversations important for our kids to know how to do? Like what? I'm not getting a lot of feedback here in this conversation.
One of those.
Are you
questioning our ability to converse?
Are you listening? Are you active listening?
Well, one of those things that you saw was talking about kids not knowing how to ask for help. And that's a problem with not knowing how to have a conversation. That they can't talk about what's bothering them. And they also maybe can't understand if somebody else is having a problem.
Right.
right.
And
They
that's
don't know how to express what's going on.
right.
Which can lead to frustration, which can lead to
Yes.
emotional issues, right? So that's in itself is a really good reason.
Right.
I think.
How is it proposed that one teaches one's child how to do this?
Well, I don't know. I was just thinking that, like, is there a curriculum? Because you know me, I'm a teacher. I love curriculum.
Yeah.
Give me a
Is
program.
there like a little stop sign you flip up to make them stop talking and let the other person talk, stop and go?
I mean,
I feel like a speech therapist did that with my kid
so actually, you know what? I was just learning about a math program, and it's the first time I've ever seen it in curriculum. But part of the program is laying the foundation for the program to be successful. And that foundation consists of explicitly teaching students how to have a discussion with one another.
Yeah.
And it takes 5 days. It's a 5-day kind of rollout and practice, obviously, because they're not going to get it just in 1 week. But there's explicit instruction on what discussions look like and sound like. And, there's sentence stems involved. It's like a very direct teaching experience. And I was like, wow, maybe that's what kind of triggered it for me. I was like, this is actually kind of cool. Because I think we do need that explicit instruction in social skills, because we just assume that people are going to have them and they don't.
Yeah.
And then we get into problems.
Yeah. And in addition to other problems with conversations, people sometimes having conversations online leads to the kind of everybody yelling their opinion at each other, which is not a conversation. And then feeling like, well, I couldn't possibly have a conversation with somebody who believes differently than me.
Right.
And that's a hard. I don't want to have those conversations with people who believe differently than me. Those are super hard.
Appropriate topics for conversations, because you know what? Sometimes if we're in a social situation, I don't need to hear your opinion about certain topics. I think it's disrespectful. Right. It's inappropriate for the place that we're in. You probably are, you could probably tell just by looking at me that I have certain opinions about things. So why prod? Like, why poke,
Yes.
So
this is what I've been trying to explain to my daughter.
Yeah.
Passing down my dad's wisdom, which is never talk politics unless you're sure everybody in the room agrees with you. And, which is not to say that there's not a room for debate, but there's around Thanksgiving table is not the place
Yeah.
to do that, or at work is not the place to do
Yeah.
that. You know, there's a time and a place possibly for it. Twitter is the time and place for it. Go there. But
That's fraught at this moment.
Yes.
that's true.
Not exactly sure about that
you know,
one.
or if you're with somebody who wants to have a spirited conversation about it, but just in general, you know,
Yeah. Like,
it's rarely necessary to bring that up.
Totally.
Or religion.
Or religion.
being
I was just
another
going to
one,
say religion.
you know.
The big one.
But
Yeah.
you know, just there's some topics that you just really, you know, don't need to go there.
Exactly.
You don't need to tell people details of their personal life just casually. You know.
So,
while
like,
you're
when did
mopping
we
the
feel
floor.
like it's okay to start, you know, this is what I have to say and you're going to hear it no matter what? And
Yeah. Yeah.
don't
That's
know.
a problem.
it is, which is why we need to teach our kids appropriate conversation skills.
Yeah. I think that started to be a problem maybe with the internet, because you can go there and just say things and not see the person you're saying them to and not really care.
Yeah.
And then you try to apply that over to real life, and it's not pleasant. People do not enjoy it. I don't enjoy it. Maybe some people do.
Yeah, it causes all kinds of grief. That is for sure.
It does indeed. Yeah. So, in addition to learning how to converse, learn what to converse about.
Right. And with whom and when.
Exactly.
There's a lot. There's a lot to
Yes.
it, for sure.
There is. And many, many adults also do not have this skill.
No.
So,
And it's also like, so, you know, if your child is struggling with this, you have to have a separate conversation about the conversations, because
yes.
when they're in the middle of it, you certainly can't be like, you need to stop talking now and let someone else have a turn. You know, like,
Yeah.
You need a little sign.
right.
You know, when I sneeze, stop talking.
Right. Because
Or
I
even-
definitely, one of my kids for sure, does not necessarily know when to stop.
Well, and just the other part of that too, I'm just kind of thinking out loud, is that teaching kids to have different kinds of conversations, because not everybody has that traditional way of communicating. So just acknowledging that, yeah, there's different ways to speak.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of what I have to say on that. So that's my little rant, my little soapbox I get to get on there.
Our conversation about conversations. Right? Yeah. Maybe one to revisit once we think about it a little bit. Would be interested. Yeah, another thing, a reason kids don't have this skill is if it's like having conversations around the dinner table used to be a thing, and maybe not so much anymore. I try to have conversations with my kids at the dinner table. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
Sometimes it's a short answer and then eating.
Right. They're like, I'm busy right now.
So then I'm talking to myself.
When my son was probably, I don't know, 7, 8, something like that. I can't remember if I've mentioned this before, but we got to go to Disney. It was related to my husband's work. So we were having dinner at a restaurant in Disneyland with a lot of his colleagues, right? And my 2 kids. And my son at, like I said, 7-something years old, there was a slight lull in the conversation, and he said, well, everyone, let's go around the table and tell us what your dream job would be.
Where did he get that from?
I do not know.
Oh my gosh.
Everyone just looked at him like, Did that just come out of your little mouth, your little 7-year-old toothless mouth?
Awesome.
Oh dear.
And of course, so everybody was there like with their coworkers.
Yes.
So they had to be like, "Oh, I have my dream
job. This is it.
This job right here."
Love it.
It was pretty fun.
Dear. So maybe we don't want to teach them how to have a conversation.
Well, I certainly don't know how he learned that or where he
Careful with them conversation starters, kids.
That's funny.
It was memorable, that is for sure.
Yes.
All right,
Well, has this conversation run its course?
I guess so. I guess we should say that that's it for today's round one. Tune in.
Totally, let's keep that. What is your dream job for a topic? Have we ever done that?
I don't know.
Record your son asking that question now, and we'll dub it in, and we'll answer it.
Yes. Where was I? That's it for today's round one. Tune in tomorrow for our entertainment-themed round two, and later in the week to find out what we're complaining about, obsessing about, and recommending right now. We're always interested in what you have to say, so drop us a comment on our website, our Facebook page, or Twitter, where you'll find us at Roundabout Chat.